You'll work with text a lot in PHP and textual information, and what we commonly refer to text as in PHP is strings. And so in this one, what we'll do is we'll have a look at strings, have a look at quotes, double quotes versus single quotes, how to inject variables into strings, and how to join different strings of text together. So this is from the next chapter in the book, so I'm going to create a new folder here, and we'll call this 3-strings. I'm going to call it strings and concatenation. And so concatenation means joining strings together, and we'll have a look at that here. Okay, so inside of there, I'm going to create a PHP file called strings.php. We'll do our opening PHP tags, and let's just echo out some strings for the time being. So, like I say, you can use single quotes and you can use double quotes. So here, let's just start small and we'll do single quotes. And so in my terminal, I'm going to cd into 3 strings and concatenation, and then we're just going to run php strings.php, and as you can see, it there prints out that hello. So remember what we said about the new line. That's still going to be added on the end there. Okay, let's do another one. In fact, let's just change this from single quotes to double quotes, and you'll see that we get the same result. Okay, so now let's look at joining strings together. Now remember, I don't know if we spoke about comments, but to add comments in PHP, you can do 2 little forward slashes like that, and then whatever you want your comment to be. And so comments are for other developers or for yourself. They're not read by the program, they're not used by the program, it's just stuff which you put there in order to help yourself. And so one of the useful uses of comments is to actually place them before some code that you've written, and therefore that code will then not get executed, so PHP will just ignore this. And so that's what we're going to do there. So you've still got that line there as a reference for when you use it in your file. All you have to do is remove those 2 forward slashes, but for now what we'll do is we'll just leave each line in there so that you can see the full file at the end. Okay, so next we've done variables. So let's declare a couple of variables here. So we're saying first name is John, last name is Smith. And what if we want to echo out those names as the full name? Well, we can join them together. And so the way that we can join them together is PHP Storm's actually giving me a hint here. So we'll do that, but we'll not actually get it to do the work for us. We'll type this ourselves. In order to concatenate, i.e. join strings together, you just need a dot. So we're going to join first name, which evaluates to John. Then we want a space, so we're going to concatenate that to a space. So quote, space, quote, and then we want to concatenate it to last name. So we should get John, space, Smith. Okay, so this is what we are expecting to see. Let's go and run this. PHP strings.php, and so as you can see, we get John Smith there. One of the differences between single quotes and double quotes is that with double quotes you can actually inject variables. So say for example I do something like this, echo double quotes, hello, comma, I can then inject a variable. So I can say first name, and so here we should see hello John. Let's test that theory. So PHP strings.php, and we do indeed see hello John. And so what's happening here is first name is being swapped for the actual value of the first name variable. However, if we were to change this to single quotes, it wouldn't work the same. You can only inject variables into strings with double quotes. What will happen here is we'll actually just see first name, i.e. hello first name, like this. Let me show you. PHP strings.php, and indeed we see hello first name prefixed with a $sign. So very important, if you want to inject variables you need to be using double quotes. Okay, now you've probably been looking at this percentage sign on the end and it might have been getting on your nerves, and what that means is because there's no new line on the end of it, the terminal will add this. So I think previously we put in this \n and that will create the new line, and so when we do it again we won't see it. But there's also something called a constant in PHP, and we've not done constants yet, so you don't need to worry too much about them, but it's something which has a stored fixed value. So we can say hello first name and then append on a constant, and this actually has a value which is the same as what we did manually where we said \n. And so a constant, it's a bit like a variable except it has a fixed value which cannot change, and that fixed value here is \ and n for new line. So if we go and run this again you'll see we no longer have that annoying little percentage thing on the end there. Okay, so that's been a gentle introduction to strings and how we can join them together and how we can use variables in strings, and we'll be using strings a whole lot more throughout the course. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to move on and have a look at numbers.